our office as of the early morning hours into the early morning hours this morning did charge this individual with charges, the lead charge being kidnapping. You know, as we've said multiple times at this point, we do not know where Ms. Scott is. So at this point, our lead charge is kidnapping. He did have a previous case. It was a 2025 case for very similar conduct, strangulation and kidnapping. That case had been withdrawn by our office based on the witness failing to appear at court. I pulled that file, and after an extensive review of it, our office made the decision to refile those charges. We believe there is enough to proceed, and we also do believe that this is a pattern for this person.
It's a pattern because you dropped the charges the first time, right? Like, come on, Philly DA. So Keon King was first charged with kidnapping. They couldn't find Kada Scott. They found Kada Scott. Now take a look at what CBS News in Philly is reporting tonight. Kada Scott, the woman found dead at an abandoned Philadelphia school after being reported missing, was killed by a gunshot wound to her head. A spokesperson for the city medical examiner's office confirmed on Thursday. The news comes a day after the office ruled the cause of death a homicide, leading to murder charges against Keon King, who was already charged with burning a vehicle that authorities say was used to transport Kada Scott's body. A lot of developments in this case. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us, former sex crimes prosecutor for more than 3 decades, Stacey Hanowitz, attorney Ali Benevento, along with criminal defense attorney Sidney Rushing. Great to see everyone tonight. Okay, gunshot wound to the head. I'm a little bit surprised by that, Stacey. I thought this was going to be like a strangulation kind of situation. What does this tell you about the killer?
Well, first of all, I saw Larry Krasner do his press conference mea culpa yesterday. If anybody didn't see it, he had to come out because the pushback on this case, because this guy was out of custody, has been out of control. So am I shocked by what we're finding now? No. He had a previous case with kidnapping involving women, and I think there was strangulation before. He just chose a different method this time. But I think the Philly DA's office is under a lot of pressure now for just what you said, dismissing those charges after the first time that this witness did not come to court. Highly unusual.
Yeah, highly unusual, especially, Ali, when you had a video of the crime.
Well, I mean, it makes it really difficult. I can't believe I'm coming to the defense of the DA right now, but it makes it very difficult to prosecute those types of cases when you don't have a cooperating witness. But I certainly understand now they're bringing that back. If they have the video evidence, they think they can prove it, then so be it. But, you know, it's very difficult for them to bring those cases when they don't have anyone to pursue them in the first place. And so it sounds like that's what happened.
I don't know.
Unfortunately, the consequences, like everyone said, have been tragic.
Yeah, when I was a prosecutor, though, we had these things. What did we call them? It starts with an S. What's the word? Oh, a subpoena.
Subpoena?
I would serve a subpoena on the witnesses so they would show up. Then if they didn't show up the first time and they were crucial, we would send someone to go get them. That's how it works. It's like 101 prosecuting, if you're a prosecutor, as opposed to being a criminal defense attorney pretending to be a prosecutor, which is what's happening in Philadelphia. Now, take a look at this new detail, Sidney. Video evidence suggesting that 2 people may have been involved in moving and burying the body of Kada Scott. Video footage from the area where Scott's body was found showed 2 people get out of a vehicle around 11:30 p.m. the night after she disappeared. Around 4 a.m., they are shown removing a heavy object consistent with a human body out of the passenger side of the car and then carrying it in the general direction where her body was recovered. So how much they got to lean on this other person. They got to find out who they are and lean on them, right? They're going to get a lot of information from this person.
Yeah, definitely, because as you know, seeing those things, it is circumstantial. So without having that person to say they were either involved and appointing it to Mr. King, shooting her and helping him move the body, they're going to have some issues. And like you were saying about, you know, his prior case being dismissed, if they don't have the person there to testify and say that he did these things, they were against my will, they can't go forward. It's really hard, even with the video, because the video, they have to have a foundational, layout to get it in. I have a DV docket that I'm on every day, and we see it. It's very common that they can't proceed without, the complaining witness showing forward. And when you have the officers bring that witness in, you're kind of re-victimizing them, right? You're terrorizing them again because they don't want to come in, and you're forcing them to.
Stacey, you're shaking
Well,
your head.
the unfortunate thing is you run into a situation like this. When I was a prosecutor for all those years, we had horrible, horrific cases where a witness said, I don't want to come to court. I just can't do it. Maybe the first time. And you went to the judge and you said, listen, you've got to reset this. I need to read the probable cause affidavit. See how horrific it is. You can't just let him go on this when the witness doesn't show up the first time. So, yes, there are other ways of getting cases. It is difficult, I agree with you, when the complaining witness doesn't come, but there is other evidence that can be provided. And certainly, I think in this case, why Krasner's coming out now is because he realized that this first time around, it shouldn't have been dismissed. It should have been reset to try to get in touch with this victim, because now we're with this situation, just like if you let somebody out on bond when the witness doesn't show up, where something like this takes place. So, it's like a double-edged sword, but certainly for him to have a whole press conference on it yesterday, the kind of heat that's going on now in Philadelphia because of this.
Okay, now I've got another detail here. I've got another detail that I don't understand it. There's apparently communications that they've uncovered. Police obtained text messages between Kada Scott and a person they believe was Keon King over the week before Scott disappeared, saying King identified himself as Kel. At about 10 a.m. the morning Scott disappeared, she texted that number to say, kidnap me again. Okay, so this is Kada Scott texting the number saying, kidnap me again. Kel responded, better be up to. One of Scott's co-workers reported seeing her upset outside their workplace at about 10 p.m. on the 4th. The co-worker reportedly heard Scott say, I can't believe you're calling me, before she walked toward a parked SUV. Any idea, Allie, what's going on here with this kidnap me again text message coming from the victim?
No, and unfortunately, we're pulling all of these messages out of context. I don't know what the relationship was between the two of these. Is that something playful? Is it something sexual? I don't know what that is. Or is she making a threat without a context and without knowing what the dynamic was between the two of these beforehand? I'm not sure quite what to make of that. Of course, after the fact, after she was in fact kidnapped and apparently murdered, it certainly reads in a sinister way. But again, it's being plucked out of its context. Really difficult to know what to make of that.
To me, this kind of goes towards the relationship. How important is figuring out what, if any, prior relationship there was here, Sydney?
I think that's going to be very important, and definitely in relation to this text message, right? Because it is threatening in nature, like kidnap me again, like let's see what happens, or is it, hey, I want to get out of my shift, kidnap me again, So I think the relationship between the parties is going to be very important when trying to decipher how these text messages were taken and said.
Yeah, Stacey, any insight into this and what it means in trying to tell the story as to what happened here and why it happened?
Well, I mean, why it happened really isn't going to be important in the long run. People don't care why it happened. It's just the fact that it did happen. So while you want to bring the relationship into it, certainly these text messages, or you want to find out how she knew him, you ask coworkers, you ask friends, did she know this guy? In the long run, in a murder prosecution, the fact that she was found dead, it's not going to make a difference whether or not they liked each other and had some kind of relationship.